So Chris Cuomo melted down when he was heckled. I think this is at an airport. I heard that somewhere. That might not be true. It doesn't look like an airport to me. It looks like... I mean, I know they're not at a circus, but the tent above them kind of looks like it's at a circus. But anyway, I digress from that. This blew up on Twitter, man. Chris Cuomo was getting absolutely roasted for what he was doing here. But funny enough, there are actually many people who came out and defended him. So you had, like, Sean Hannity defended him, Tommy Lauren defended him, TYT defended him. A lot of people were like, hey, man, whatever. It's cool. He stood up to somebody who was talking shit. Let me just show you. I'm sure most of you have seen it by now, but I want to run the clip anyway. Let me show you the back and forth. This is what happened when he was called Fredo, and then we're going to come back and discuss.
I thought that's who you were.
No, punk-ass bitches from the right call me Fredo. My name is Chris Cuomo. I'm an anchor on CNN.
Oh, you're much...
Fredo is from The Godfather. He was that weak brother.
Isn't that your
And
brother?
they use it as an Italian aspersion. Any of you Italian? Are you Italian? It's a fucking insult to your people. It's an insult to your fucking people. It's like the N-word for us. Is that a cool fucking thing?
You're a much more reasonable guy in person than you seem to be on television.
Yeah, but if you want to play, then we'll fucking play. If you got something you want to say about what I do on television, then say it. But don't call me a
hey,
fucking
man,
insult.
hey, listen.
What?
I don't want any problems.
Yeah, you're going to have a big fucking problem.
What's the problem?
It's a little different on TV. Don't fucking insult me like that.
I didn't insult you.
You call me Fredo. It's like I call you punk bitch. You like that? You want that to be your nickname?
I didn't call you that.
You called me Fredo. You know my name's not fucking Fredo.
I thought your name was.
You did not think my name was fucking Fredo. Don't be a liar. You want to be a man, stand up like a man.
I'm standing up, man.
You want to be a man, I'm here. Then fucking own it. Then own what you said.
Hey.
Then own what you said.
Listen, man, I don't have a problem with you, man.
Yeah, you're going to have a fucking problem.
What? What are you going to do about it?
I'll fucking ruin your shit. I'll fucking throw you down these stairs like a fucking punk.
Please do.
Why, so you can fucking sue? So you can fucking sue?
Well, why don't you do it?
Go take a swing. You want to call me Fredo? Take a fucking swing. Take a fucking swing. Watch your fucking hands. Take a swing. Watch your fucking hands. Take a swing. No, come on, boy. Come on, boy. So you want to call me shit? Call me shit then.
Hey, listen, man.
I'm right fucking here. I'll fucking wreck your shit. I'll fucking wreck your shit.
Stop.
You didn't know what you were doing when
I
you
thought
called
it
me
was your
Fredo?
name, man.
You didn't know.
I thought it was your name.
You didn't know, right? Hey, you didn't know what you were saying, right?
I thought it was his name.
I'm breaking it up. I'm breaking it up.
This is my buddy. Hey, look at all these cameras. You're in for it. You're in for it.
I'm in for what?
You're
You
in
call me
for
fucking
it.
Fredo?
You're in for it.
You call me Fredo?
That's every dude I went to high school with, by the way. Bro, did you say something, bro? Bro, did you say something? Bro, say that to my face, bro. Come on, bro. You want to take this outside? You want to take this outside, dog? All right, so all of you know, I'm sure, but I'll just say for the 2% of you who don't, that's Fredo Corleone. Fredo Corleone in The Godfather was, yeah, like the weak brother, kind of nebbish weak brother who wants to be a leader, but he just doesn't have the characteristics. And, you know, he kind of sells the family out. And he, it's true that that character in the movie is like really sad and weak. And that's why it's getting under Chris Cuomo's skin is that, listen, and on this, I genuinely have sympathy for Chris Cuomo, that his dad was Governor Mario Cuomo. And by the way, not a bad governor, just for the record. He was actually significantly more progressive than Andrew Cuomo, who's his brother. But that's the point. His dad was the governor. His brother is the governor. And he, he's a CNN anchor. Oh, come on, man. I don't know how dude got the job, but the default assumption from everybody, and it's not unreasonable, is to think, well, somebody probably made a fucking phone call. Somebody made a phone call. Is it, what, you think it's like purely meritocracy? That the brother of the guy who was the governor and is the governor, like he just happened to work his way up through the ranks. And by the way, this is why some Hollywood actors like to change their name if they have like famous parents, is because they want to say, no, this was all me, this wasn't. But for Chris Cuomo, listen, I would say to him, dog, the reason why you're so upset is because you feel like there's a grain of truth in it. Because daddy was the governor, your brother's the governor, you're a CNN host, everybody's default assumption is somebody picked up the phone and made a phone call and said, can you give this guy a job? And I'm not saying he's any worse than any other CNN host, for the record, but I think that the reason why that hit him is because he does feel a little bit like that stings, because there might be a grain of truth in it. Now, Chris Cuomo recently has actually been very good to a lot of lefties. He keeps having on Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian, and that's more than almost any other host on any of the mainstream networks does. Okay, so at least he's allowing the conversation to be shifted a little further left, to shift that Overton window a little further left, to have some genuine, like, hardcore pro-Bernie voices on to have that conversation. So you got to give him credit for that. But what I would say to him in response to what he did here is, bro, you're a grown-ass man. You're a grown man, dude. You know, I don't know how old he is, but dude, you know you can't do this shit anymore. You're not in high school. You're not in college. Like, you can't. And by the way, when you're known to one degree or another, I'm not defending the person who was screaming Fredo at him, but, like, it's a little bit par for the course. You know what I mean? Like, if you feel physically threatened by somebody, it's all systems go. You're allowed to defend yourself. The only time I think violence is okay is in cases of self-defense. But if somebody's just doing, like, whatever, some mild heckling where they called you Fredo, this is a little bit of an overreaction. Now, also, he said, it's an insult to your people. Are you Italian? Like, this is like the N-word to us. Listen, I'm Italian. That's not true at all. Never in my life, my mother's side is the Italian side of the family. Never in my life once has any of them ever mentioned, like, oh, Fredo, you know, it's a really bad word to Italians. It's like the N-word. Not even close to true, dude. In fact, there are other words that are worse to call Italians than Fredo. Like, again, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Fredo is like it's nothing. No, the point is he's trying to compare him to that weak-ass brother in The Godfather. So he is trying to insult him. Don't get me wrong, he is trying to insult him. But, like, even calling an Italian person Guido is worse than calling them Fredo. Or actually the worst one than that is Ginzo. Calling them a Ginzo is worse than Fredo. And I could say this again because I'm Italian, so I get the pass. But don't compare to the N-word, dude. Don't do it. Don't do that. Don't do that, because that's just not true. It's not as bad. It's not as bad. There's not... I mean, maybe back in the day... I don't even know if it was true back in the day, but, like... In my experience, there's no word that is as harsh against Italians as the N-word is to black people, given the history and all that stuff. So... And the final point, the final point I gotta make is, right when this happened, I tweeted, I cannot wait until Trump responds. And right on cue, he tweets about it, and he says something like, you know, oh, Chris Cuomo, he wouldn't be able to pass the red flag law. He shouldn't have a gun. He's crazy. Because now the conversation is about red flag laws, where the idea is, you know, if somebody's being really erratic and they're mentally unhinged, that there can be like a quick process to just take whatever guns they have to make sure they don't commit some sort of a shooting or whatever. It's this new law that's like a mild version of gun reform that's being debated right now. So Trump tied that into, oh my God, Chris Cuomo, the red flag law should apply to him. If he has guns, we should take it. He's crazy. And then he goes on to his team starts selling Fredo Unhinged t-shirts on their website. Come on, man. You know, I was having this conversation. I did the live Jimmy Dore show the other night, which was a lot of fun, and you should check out the clips when they drop on Jimmy's channel. But I had this conversation with Katie Halper, and she said something that so many people have said to me secretly. People will be like, psst, psst. I feel really bad because Trump is actually, like, really funny. I've heard so many people say that, and they're all 100% right. I feel bad too. The dude's a war criminal. The dude is destroying the economy. I mean, you know, you go through the list of all the terrible things he did. The negative column for his policies is endless. The positive is nearly non-existent. But yeah, the dude is hilarious without even trying. He's one of the funniest people on the planet. The way he's like a king troll, but he's also really stupid. And I'm at the point now where if you tweet something and that thing has an exclamation point, I can't help but read it in Trump's voice. Or it's all caps. I'm like, you're Trump. Like, that's who you are. Like, the dude has dominated the national discourse so much, and he's so funny that now he, like, owns the exclamation point. Oh, my God. But anyway, CNN released a statement in defense of Chris Cuomo. Just for the record, do I think he should be fired? Of course not. No, I don't care. Do I think he probably should have reeled it in and not acted like a high schooler? Yes, I do. But the CNN statement was kind of funny because they, like, over-defended him. Like, if I was CNN, I would have said, we saw the incident, we don't really care, we're standing by our host. But they were like, Chris Cuomo and his family have been longtime fighters against anti-Italian ethnic slurs. Which is like, oh, come on, bro. Come on, dog. You're overreaching, cuz. You're overreaching. But yeah, nonetheless, I don't care about this. It's just kind of funny. So I decided we'd all have a good time and laugh together.